Hello and welcome to Gartner Live. I'm Irmina Melarkode and I'm a director analyst within the finance practice at Gartner. Today, I would like to talk about the prospect of an autonomous finance organization that is very compelling, but getting started seems to be complex and difficult. With all the AI, ChatGPT buzz, leaders, CFOs, controllers, FP&A, transformation, they're asking a lot of questions saying, how much should I invest? What to prioritize? Where do I need to start? What are actually the risks coming with that technology? What about the humans? What are their jobs? There are people who are coming to them and they're asking those questions on a daily basis. And in this session, I will try to guide you through how you can make strategic and deliberate reallocation of your resources, reduce the risks, and maintain the pace of innovation and transformation across FP&A and controllership. And most importantly, focus on humans. How to drive the human-centric transformation using the strategies. And as you're expecting, we only are going to scratch the surface of the broad topic today. So if you would like to have anything more personalized, more interactive sessions about those topics, you can join upcoming Gartner Finance CFO and Executives Conference. And lastly, you can add your comments into this chat in the chat in this session. I will do our best to answer all of your questions. So now let's head into the first key. Let's talk about our CFOs that actually drive the hard, or they should be driving the hard trade-off decisions across the business. Unfortunately, we're seeing that 75% of finance leaders experience high regret in the largest technology purchase that they've made, which is a very alarming indicator that they're making wrong decisions. Their return on investment are not where they want it to be. We're also seeing, despite of their most ambitious plans to transform the function to be digital, to be innovative from a talent, technology, process perspective, that 60% of the finance leaders, even though that they have those high-end goals, they don't have a roadmap in place or a clear direction that they would like to go into. But what about those 25% of the leaders that are actually happy, that they're not regretting their finance technology decisions and investments? When we zoomed into that, we learned that they actually spend a lot of time on defining the value that they would like to deliver, but also the planning that will make them to get to the point that they would like to be at. And when we started breaking that down, and one of the strategies that Gartner is helping clients to get to that point and be of one of those 25% ones is a specific strategy. It's called composable strategy. The composable strategy starts actually as these finance capabilities as modules. Those are sufficiently independent with minimal dependencies, which means that from a finance transformation point of view, that has 5 components into that it's data, technology, process, people skills, as well as the organizational design. You can make those decisions separately, independently to a certain extent from each other, which means you can easily prioritize or make those trade-offs based on your strategic goals. One of the composable framework actually start at the functional or enterprise, the business strategy goals. So if we would like to talk about the examples, the strategic goal, there's an enterprise A, and you can see it actually one of our finance composable strategy research is improving a cash flow. We're seeing a lot of companies that are actually focusing on that. So starting with that business strategy goal, the CFOs should ask themselves, how am I going to monitor the progress in that, delivering that business strategy goal? So those are definition of the specific drivers or KPIs that are going to show the improvements in that specific space. For the improved cash flow, it will be DSO, DPO, DIO. And the third step is actually to identify clearly what are the finance capabilities that are helping to deliver that specific business strategy goals or improve those KPIs. In that case, most commonly, when the enterprises are trying to improve their cash flow, we are seeing investments in collections or accounts payable space. Having those steps done, we have clearly defined capabilities that we need to focus on. And the next step would be actually to make decisions on where do I need to invest and to what level. And that's where the second function comes into place of the finance transformation leader that helps to maximize the digital return on investment in that space. So now we have a sharp focus on strategic goals. We know what are the drivers and we know what are the finance capabilities that are delivering those. So the next step would be with the help of the finance transformation leader is to maximize the return on investments in those capabilities. But before even going that direction, the role of the finance transformation leader is to clearly define the level, how advanced those capabilities should be, translate them into the plan, then drive the vendor selections and then implementation of those technologies and processes across the teams, making sure that whoever is going to use that tool in the other side, that they have proper skills. There's a transition management included into that. And they're delivering the value that they initially defined from a business or functional strategy perspective. Considering that 72% of digital business transformation missed the revenue expectation, it's an important exercise. So definitely a lot of focus into that. And like going back to where we were just talking with from the CFO perspective, not having a roadmap, having a lot of regret from the technology investments, it requires a proper assessment that where do we actually want to be with those capabilities. The second part of the composable strategy is actually helping to assess how far those capabilities should be advanced. And we're recognizing there are 3 layers of those. There's a core layer that delivers standardization and compliance. There's a second layer that talks about differentiated platforms that deliver value-added services and competitive advantage, and innovative platforms that are developing new business models or addressing like the new opportunities on the market. So each of those capabilities, so the examples that we're talking in the CFO space for collections or accounts payable, let's take an example of collections, if you will. It's the way of bringing more money, talking about improving the cash flow, it's the way of bringing more money into the bank. So means that the questions that we would ask ourselves within the 3 layers of advanced technologies, are we going to be happy with just standardization and compliance, or do we actually need like some value-added services and advantage to bring those money faster into our bank account? Finance transformation leaders should be driving that effort or assessing the current ecosystem of the technologies that they have, but also the future or new investments that they have to make with the benchmark or assessing into the target capability level that they would like to see out there. While that type of the activities are confirmed, then you can clearly translate that into the roadmap. Say considering the prioritization that was done on the strategic level. Few effective ways for the finance transformation leader is, first of all, is a direct proximity to CFO to ensure the effectiveness of the finance transformation. Second part is avoid siloed transformation within the sub-functions like controllership, invoice to cash, procure to pay. Those efforts should be consolidated because they're related to each other. And from a business strategy perspective, even though those functions would like to be the most important, alignment back to the business strategy goals is extremely important in broader finance transformation. Another part is creating a transformation team, steering committee that is actually going to help to drive strategic decisions or directions for that particular team. We're seeing a lot of misunderstanding of those roles. So having encouraged leadership that will help to drive strategic decisions and directions for the transformation teams is extremely important. On the way, when this transformation leaders should leverage lean methods to keep the transformation journey clean. Things that were aligned at the very beginning through the execution, it might turn out that within the agile environment, that there are some components of transformation that have to be disconnected or merged or simplified. So having few of those methods is extremely important. As the next, the third key to the human-centric transformation, I would like to move on to a little bit more practical examples. So the next one would be actually how FP&A leaders can navigate planning complexity. So financial planning and analysis and navigating planning complexity. With environments changing rapidly, that function actually is responsible for delivering a high value information or data for the organizations to navigate their uncertainty and opportunities that are showing up there. The environment is super fast, but is the FP&A function as fast as they would like to be? We asked them, and they responded that from agility perspective, their financial planning, it's not as fast. They said that only 41% can quickly identify external risks and opportunities. Only 39% of them can rapidly assess them. And only 50 actually have a confidence in taking an action. That's not the best. But from the other hand, when we asked them, so how many of you actually feel the pressure of getting better? And it was 96%. With that much pressure and processes and technologies not being in the place that are setting them up for success, we were asking, what is the problem? And we actually touched on that where we're talking about driving the trade-off decisions through a CFO and maximizing the return on investment from a finance transformation leader perspective. And it turned out that the work that FP&A function is doing is not focused on delivering value. The data structure and insights that they're providing are not focused on the strategy or the business decisions that the leadership has to make. So that would be the first point where the FP&A function definitely has to work back with the finance transformation leader and CFO to define what are actually the business strategy goals that we as a function, and what are our capabilities, and to what level do we need to invest into them. There are two other concepts apart from that that are getting more innovative within the FP&A function. One is the data modeling, which is actually, if you think about it, if you want to get ready for AI implementation in that specific place, you need to have data modeling organized in a great way, because it's a foundation for AI insights. If your data structure is not going to be done well, your AI sensors are not going to be high quality either. And the second component that comes a little bit with that as well is the governance. The data governance used to be very rigid and structured when it comes to control from one data sources to another. This concept of the single source of truth has to go away. The new way to provide the insights in a fast manner is the sufficient source of truth. I know that AI and those concepts might sound pretty hard or complicated and might be a little bit intimidating, especially like building in-house solutions. The good news is we have a magic quadrant in place where we have an assessment of the best vendors in that area where AI is actually a part of it. And we've also checked by implementing AI capabilities, you can improve your planning agility for about like 25%. So it's definitely important to go back to your, do you want to drive the value from the FP&A space? Do you have technology in place? And how are you going to deliver it into what advanced level? So that was the example of the FP&A. And now I would like to talk about a controllership. Okay, let's talk about the last key of human-centric finance transformation, controllership, or controllers as leaders. Controllership is the largest and the most underappreciated function within finance. It is considered as a friction. People who are sitting in those teams are experiencing a high change fatigue, with complexity of businesses increasing, that are increasing their jobs and their tasks that are performing on a daily basis. They're not having a mental capacity to go through more changes, if you will. Those merger and acquisitions, new business models, they just would like to do their job, as accountants would do. But from the other hand, even though that function is considered as the most underappreciated and like the most friction in the autonomous finance process transformation, when we ask our controllers in this year, how do they see their function? Do they want to transform? 83% actually of them said that they're planning and sequencing the finance transformation for their function. And 2/3 of them actually would like to be personally involved in that transformation. And there are a few areas that they would like to focus on. First, they would like to be autonomous. And those are the components of the transformation that they would have to consider. They would like to decrease the routine work that is actually making their team so tired and under the change fatigue. The cost-effective design, and we'll talk about each one of them a little bit, like what does it mean? And like what does it mean to be a digital talent when you're part of the controllership? But when we started deeping dive a little bit more, it turned out that actually hyper-automation is a part of autonomous finance. It's only a priority number 26 out of 30. Unfortunately, 72% of controllers, they don't know what does it mean to be a digital talent. Like what is digital skills within their own function. And why is that? It is mostly because of the mindset. When we ask the CFOs, what is the biggest problem to transform the function overall to be autonomous, they said 60% of them had said it's a mindset. We are not, controllership or finance in general is not experimenting broadly. We're not giving as much as credit to technology as much as to people. And that goes back to actually our AI conversation. Humans and machines, they actually get the best out of them. They can replace this routine heavy work and give people to do what they were studying for, which is making decisions, making a human judgment. And only with the help of technology and with rapidly changing world altogether, we can achieve that. Hopefully you found this session being helpful. And that's all what I had prepared for you. Thank you for the time, and please continue with your questions and comments in the chat box. And just a reminder, 64% of CFOs anticipate that finance will become autonomous within the next 6 years. So if you would like to catch up, see a little bit more details, have a personal insights, please make sure you join our CFO and executives finance conference coming up. Thank you so much and have a great week.